You need to start learning N8N right now. Everyone knows that most jobs will be fully AI automated by 2030. What most people don't realize is that with no-code tools like N8N, ordinary people with no technical background like me are already building the systems that will replace them in the future. This opens up huge opportunities for those who have the vision to bet on AI in 2025. So the real question isn't whether or not you should learn N8N, but what to actually build. That's why in this video I'm going to walk you through every step of setting up N8N, teach you the basics and walk you through your very first automation projects. To set up N8N, we are going to start by searching for n8n.io, and here we are going to click on Get Started. You are going to sign up and start free trial. After a few seconds, you should see Currently Online, and you are going to click on Open Instance. And now we are going to create a new workflow. Every time you start a new workflow in N8N, you are always going to see this blank canvas with this Add First Step button in the middle. And the first step for every automation is always going to be a trigger. The trigger is what starts the workflow. So we are going to click here. And as you can see, we have all these different kinds of triggers. But for now, we are just going to click on Form Submission Trigger. Now I know there are a lot of things here, but for now we are just going to change the form title to New Lead and add a form element called Name. Now we can test this step. And as you can see, we have our form here with the title and the name field. Form submitted. Now if we come back to N8N, back to Canvas, as you can see, our trigger has one item coming from it, which means that our automation has started. And now that we can receive the name of our leads, we need to save them somewhere. So we are going to add another node. We are going to add a Google Sheets node and append row in Sheets. For this node, you'll need some credentials, so I left a video in the description so you can set this up. Now I'm going to search for Google Sheets. I'm going to create a new sheet. I'm going to name it New Lead. And I'm going to add a column called Name. Okay, now back in N8N, I'm going to choose New Lead. And I'm going to choose this sheet 1. And now we should automatically get this name column, and we are going to grab this name from here and we are going to paste it here. So what this basically is doing is it is grabbing the name that comes from our form and is going to save it on our column called name. And as you can see, it is working. So now we are going to come back to N8N. We are going to test this form with a different name. I'm going to name it Josh, submit, and now it is saving the lead. Okay, so now our forms is working. However, we need to add a lot more fields for it to be actually useful. So we are going to add a phone number, the description, and time frame. I'm just going to make this look a little bit better. Okay, now we need to add these fields to our form. Here I'm going to add form elements. And now we'll test this step. And now our forms is looking way more professional, and you can use this, for example, to paste it on a website to collect leads, or use this for a landing page. And if we complete this, okay. And now if we come to the Google Sheet, as you can see, we have the name, but all of the other fields are empty. And the reason for this is because we need to update this node so it actually collects the other information. So if we refresh it, now we have the other fields and we are going to grab them from the left. The phone number comes here. Description and the time frame. Now if we execute this step, As you can see, now it is working. And now we are going to add an AI node to send a personalized email to our new lead. So we are going to click on AI. And here we have all of these different options, but we are going to click on basic LLM chain. And here we are going to change this to define below. You can think of these AI nodes as ChatGPT. When you send a message to ChatGPT, you need to give it context so it understands what it needs to do. And for this case, if we want a personalized email, we need to give it the information about the lead so we can correctly make it personalized. So in this case, we are going to put the name and we are going to grab it from the left. And if you are wondering why we are doing this, is because if we just put here the name, then it doesn't matter what our lead puts on the name field because this Tiago Lema's name is a fixed value. Instead, we need to grab it from the left because this means that this is a variable, and every time a user changes this value, it's going to automatically update it in the user prompt. For this specific case, we are not going to add every field because for our personalized email, we don't need the phone number nor the email. So we are just going to add the description and the time frame. Now we are going to add a system prompt, and the system prompt is basically the personality of our agent. So for this case, we are going to tell it you are a professional email writer, and you are going to grab the information that we give to you, and you are going to write a personalized email. All of the AI nodes need a brain in order to function. So we are going to click here on the model, and I'm going to give it the ChatGPT model as its brain. Here you can see I have my credentials already set up, but if you don't, I'm going to leave another video in the description. Back to Canvas. And there you go. This node now is set up and we can run it. And as you can see here in the output, we have the subject for our email, helping you build your AI automation by next month. And here is the body. Hi Tiago, I hope this message finds you well. Great, now we have our email and we need to send this. So we are going to come back to Canvas and we are going to add a Gmail node to send this email to our lead. We are going to choose send a message. To send an email to our lead, we'll need to fill this to field with the email of our lead. So here we are going to grab the email. And now we'll need to complete this subject and message. So we are going to come to this LLM node. And as you can see, we have this text variable, which has the subject here. And right after that, we have the body of the email. So what we will actually need to do is go to the LLM chain node and force the output to be two separate variables, the subject and the body of the email. So we are going to come here and we are going to require specific output format. Okay, and now we are going to come back to Canvas. And as you can see, we have this new output parser. We are going to click this and we are going to click on structure output parser. And here we are going to give an example of what the output should be. So we are going to change this state to subject. And I know this seems confusing, but it's actually very simple. So this is going to be the name of the variable. In this case, the name is text and we need the subject variable and we are going to give it an example. So we can grab this example and we are going to paste it here. And the other variable is going to be called body. And we are going to delete this. As you can see here, the structure is like this. So now we are going to grab this as an example. Best regards. And paste it here. Okay, so now if we test this step once again, now we should have two different variables. As you can see, we have the subject that we are going to paste here on the subject and the message. And this is going to be text. Once again, you'll need credentials to set up these nodes, so I'm going to leave the video in the description, and back to Canvas. Now we can test if this is working. Okay, I'm going to check my inbox. And here it is the email, but now we have a few errors. We have this error here, and we are getting this email was sent automatically with N8N that we also don't want. So here we are going to come to this node, and here on add option, we are going to choose append N8N attribution and toggle this off. So now if we execute step, we should get another email. Okay, so now we don't get that N8N attribution. And now we will need to put the name of our company so that it actually appears here. So we are going to change this on the system prompt. And we are going to say working for AI automation solutions company. Now let's see. Okay, so now here in the signature, as you can see, we have best regards, the AI automation solutions team. This you can change to wherever you want. And we are going to send another email. Okay, so this is looking good for me. We have, thank you for reaching out to AI Automation Solutions. We are excited to help you build your AI automation system. You obviously can make as much tweaks as you want here to the system prompt. So it gives you the exact email structure that you're looking for. Now let's test this once again. So I'm going to go back to Canvas. I'm going to click on Execute Workflow. And here I'm going to put a different name so we can actually see it. The email is important that we put our actual email so we can see the email that we are sending. And now we should have a new row on our sheet. There you go. And we should get a new email. Great, so we have, hi Josh, thank you for reaching out to AI Automation Solutions, we love the enthusiasm. And there you go, your first automation project. Now I know this is nothing crazy, but I hope you can start to get an idea of how powerful N8N can be. We just built a complete CRM plus follow-up system in like 10 minutes. Now let's build something a bit more fun. Let's go to N8N. In the second part, we are going to build on top of the first automation. So we are going to click on this plus. And I know my camera is above it, but we are going to click on add another trigger and we are going to click on a schedule. We can leave everything as is and I'm going to click on back to Canvas. Now don't forget to save so you don't lose your progress. As I said, we are going to build on top of our first automation. So we are going to grab all the information from our sheets and choose get rows in sheet. Here, once again, you'll need your credentials and we are going to choose the new lead and execute this step. As you can see, this is our sheet exactly as it is here. Let's save. And now we are going to add a new column to our sheet. So we come here. I'm going to name it status. So this column will have two options, either sent or waiting. And I'm going to put the first two to sent and the last three to waiting, and you will understand why in a second. So now back in N8N, we are going to click on this node, and here we are going to add a filter. And the filter will be for our status column. And the value has to be waiting. And what this is going to do is instead of returning the whole table, it's only going to return the rows where the status is equal to waiting. Let's test this step. And as you can see, now this node only outputs the last three rows, which are the ones that say waiting. So now what we are going to do is add another node. summarize. And now let's drag the row number here and execute step. Now what this is going to do is counting how many rows are coming from our sheets node. Now back to canvas, we are going to save this. And now what I want to do is every time a day ends, I want to receive a notification on my phone telling me exactly how many new leads came in today. So we are going to add a new node, HTTP request node. On the URL you are going to paste exactly this and change the method to post. And now I'm on my phone and I'm going to search for Notify. And I'm going to download this app. I'm gonna open it. Allow. Now I'm going to click on the plus button on the top right corner. And here I'm going to choose a name for my subscription. I just realized I forgot to tell you that Notify is free. So when I say subscription, it sounds like you have to pay, when in fact it's just the name they use to connect the phone to N8N. I'm going to name it N8N Workflow Test. You can name this whatever you want. And now you might be wondering, what the hell did I just do? Well, Notify is an app that allows N8N to send notifications to my phone. So what we are going to do is write the subscription that we just created on the Notify app. We are going to toggle send headers on, paste this here. The value is going to be text plain, and we are going to toggle send body on. I'm going to change the type to raw, and I'm just going to send a test notification. So I'm going to write test here, and we are going to test this step. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think this is amazing. With this tool, you can send notifications to your phone directly through your workflows. I mean, think of the possibilities here. You could, for example, add this to your workflows, so every time there is an error, you get immediately notified. Or you could, for example, add a step to your workflow, so every time something strange happens, you get notified immediately. I mean, the possibilities are truly endless. But for this case, we want to know how many leads we got today. So we are going to write here, today you had, and we are going to grab the number of new leads. New leads. Now if we test this step, and now we just need to update the status of these leads so that in the future we only get the current leads and not these old ones. So we are going to go back to Canvas, add a new Sheets node, and we are going to update row in sheet. Now we need to select our sheet. And here we are going to choose the row number. And we can delete all of this because we only need the status. Now we are going to grab the row number from the left. And as you can see, we get an error. This error is actually very common in N8N. And the reason for it is because here on the row number, it is looking for one item. But here on the left, you can see that from this Sheets node, we are getting 3 items. So this node can't actually decide which of the 3 to use. So instead, we are going to come back to Canvas. Here, we are going to delete this connection, and we are going to connect it directly to this node. Here we are going to delete this, and we are going to grab the row number from the left, and here on the status we are going to change it to sent. So what this is going to do is basically update our sheet, so every time we see this waiting status, it's going to change it to sent. Now let's test this step, and back to the sheets. As you can see, we only have sent status right now. The final thing we are going to add to our workflow is a switch node. The switch node is a super important node that will decide the course of action according to circumstances. So we are going to search for this switch node. I'm going to execute previous nodes. This switch node will have 3 possible outcomes. So I'm going to add them here. And these outcomes are going to be, if we have is less than, for example, 5. So what this is saying is, if the leads that we got today are less than 5, then the first path will be outputted. Then we are going to do the same here. And we are going to say is less than, let's say, 10. And finally, if we have more than, greater than or equal to 10, then the output will be this third one. Now let's go back to Canvas. Okay, now I'm going to disconnect this node and I'm going to add it here. And I'm going to put this on the first path. Now we are going to copy this 2 times. And now according to the amount of leads that we get, I'm going to change the notification message. So here I'm going to say, for example, I'm going to add a sad face. Today you only had new leads. On this second one, which is from 5 to 10 leads, I'm going to add a happier face and an exclamation point. And finally, the third outcome, which will be more than 10 leads, we are going to put these emojis here. Okay, so now depending on how many leads we get, we are going to either get this sad face message. If we get less than 5 leads, in the middle is more than 5 and less than 10, and we are going to get this message. And finally, if we have more than 10 leads, we are going to get this message saying congratulations. So let's test this. We are going to get to the Sheets node. Here I'm going to delete this and I'm going to add waiting. I'm going to copy this. Now let's test the workflow and see what message do we get. Because we only have 3 leads saying waiting, we should be getting this sad face notification. And as you can see here on the sheets, all the waiting are now sent. And just to give you another example, we are now going to test if we have more than 10 leads. So we are going to change this to So now we have 11 new leads, which means that the message we should get is the congratulations one. Let's come here to N8N and let's test the workflow. And finally, here on the sheets, you can see that every single status is now sent. I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, consider subscribing because I upload videos like this every single week.